What people, I'm Samal from ANTT Robotics and welcome to the third episode of IoT Hacks presented to you by School of IoT and powered by ANTT Robotics. Well, it's the third episode and we have already done two very cool projects. We have used these LEDs and motors to do some pretty fancy stuff. We have used this temperature and blah 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 automatic stuff now. But today we are going to do something a bit more fancier, like something a bit more cooler, alright? Not just turning on some random LEDs or fan or ACs. Today we are going to fight, what is it called? People say do not play with fire. Well, today we are practically going to play with fire. We're going to fight with fire. So it's pretty ironic there. Now, what do I mean by playing with fire? So, welcome to today's episode of IoT-based fire detection and firefighting system. So, what does this project do and why do we need to do it? As usual, you can pretty much tell from the title that it can sense whether if there is a gas leakage or any fire or something like that, and then alert us and also fight with it. By fight, I mean by trying to put out the fire. So let's see these components and everything, and let's see what do I have in my circuitry here. Alright, so it's pretty simple. We have this sensor. We have this pretty cool sensor, a motor pump. It's a DC pump and it obviously has positive and negative, some jumper wires, and the School of IoT board. Well, it's basically all these things that we need, external things, but we also need one more thing to tell us that there is a fire. We need a buzzer. Now you might be thinking that where do I get a buzzer? Well, here it is, this buzzer. So it's pretty cool that there is built-in LEDs and buzzer in the School of IoT board, so it's pretty nice to have it, so we don't need to externally connect all these buzzers and everything, so it comes built in. We have our hardware. Let's start with this sensor. So it's a very special sensor. It's an MQ2 gas sensor. Now what does this sensor do? Well, it's pretty easy what this sensor does. As you can see, it can detect gases, so it can detect gases such as LPG, propane, methane and stuff like that. So we can actually see the amount of carbon dioxide and then oxygen and other stuff which we normally breathe in and breathe out. So let's see what we have in these pins. We have analog pin, a digital pin, a ground pin, and a VCC pin. So what is all this pin? We know that ground pin is ground, VCC is VCC. And we have an analog and digital pin. So we're not going to use the digital pin. We don't need digital input. We need analog input. So we're going to use the analog pin because we need to see the values. So it's pretty much it. This sensor is pretty simple. It only has 4 pins. So we're going to use 3 pins of it. So let's start with connecting the School of IoT board. Now, at first we're going to see. We're going to take one of our jumper wires, and as I said earlier, we don't need a breadboard like previous projects, so it's a very good thing. Let's connect this ground. As far as radiation goes, ground with black and VCC with red. So our connection is complete. As you can see, we are already done. We've connected our gas sensor. Pretty simple. One wire goes in analog and the other goes ground and VCC. Now we have these 2 extra wires. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our pump. Let's say the ground pin. Alright, so this is the ground pin, and now we're going to connect our ground with it. Our ground is connected. So now our motor is connected. So now let's connect it with the relay. So in our code, it's relay 27. It's basically relay 1 or 2. I forgot, but it's 27. So let's see which one is 27. This one is 27. And again, if you want to know how to identify relay numbers, just look at here beside this LED. It's IoT number 27, IoT number 26. So let's unscrew this, and as usual, we're going to connect our common pin. Let us do that. Right, our common pin is here, and now we're going to connect this to 5 volts. All right, so it's done. Common pin connection is done. Now we need to attach another, and we need to connect the red wire of the motor with NO pin normally open. So we're done in here. Alright, our connection is complete for the motor. Now we're going to connect our sensor. So let's connect VCC. You can keep it 5 volts, you can use any voltage you want. It's nobody kind of says that. So let's connect it here. Okay. And now we're going to connect our data pin. So let's see where it is connected. Okay. So according to our code, it's connected with IO pin number 39. It's connected with IO pin number 39. And done. So our whole circuitry is complete. We have connected our hardwares and everything. It's totally done. Now what we need to do is we need to set up the software, and then we're going to upload this thing and then see if it works. So let's move on to it.
Alright, so we're here in our dashboard, and now we're going to set up this thing to be compatible with our School of IoT. So let's go to equipments, and now we're going to add an equipment. We're going to name it fire detection. We're going to do a description. School of IoT project 3. Right, let's give it an icon, and we're going to add actions. So let's see our code. Okay, we're going to give 4 actions. Well, one for auto mode, one for manual mode, one for our pump, and one for our buzzer. Also, we're going to give a trigger, and it's for our smoke sensor. Well, now we're going to name it exactly the same as in our code. That's the same thing we did in the previous episode. Paste it here, and then name it pump, autocorrect. Oh god, we're going to name it buzzer, and then we're going to name our trigger smoke. Alright, so let's name it smoke. And we're going to give the action type boolean, default value 0, 0 and 0. So that's pretty much it. Our equipment is done. Now we're going to save it and add it. So let's go to register equipment and find our equipment and add it to registers. So the name will be fire detection. Alright, now we're going to submit it, and then go to our dashboard and add some switches. So we're going to add 4 switches because we have 4 actions. and a field value for our smoke sensor. Let's name it the same way. We're going to paste it in here and name it mode. The registry is fire detection, auto mode, and submit. Let's well, our manual mode is complete. Now it's time for the pump. So let's give validation. Alright, we submit it, and now we're going to add another one for our buzzer. So buzzer registries fire detection, and submit. Alright, now this will be our smoke sensor data, so we're going to name it smoke, and then we're going to select its registry and trigger smoke. So the field value of it is 0. Now we're going to submit it, and our setup is complete. So now what we're going to do is see if it all works.
Alright, we have our software and everything set up as usual, and we also have our hardware and everything done. Well, we had two changes. You can see that there is this cup. So we have actually got two mugs, so we can just actually show you how it's going to detect fire and everything. So to see if it works, we're going to log into School of IoT dashboard, and then pretty much we're going to test it. So how are we going to test it? So let's see. Maybe in the kit there is this something included. I'm not going to tell you, but let's see how it works. So another thing we have is this lighter. Now remember, do this thing under adult supervision. All right. Never ever do this on your own. Alright, so yeah, literally never ever do that, because anything can happen. So here's this lighter, and don't worry, I do have my directors and producers here, so they're actually supervising me on using this lighter. So yeah, you cannot also blame me. We're going to dump our motor, this water pump here, and then there's this thing, this pipe, and we're going to put it in here so that we can see that there is water. So let's see, there's this whole manual mode and auto mode. So I'm pretty sure that you have some level of idea about auto mode and manual mode right now. So we can see that this there's been 6 minutes. There is this smoke value. We have our average time and everything. So this smoke value means actually the values of the smoke sensor. Now we're going to test it in auto mode. So we're going to turn on auto mode. It's basically going to detect if there is a fire, and then it's going to turn the things on and off. So let's take our sensor, and remember, don't light this thing up. We're going to burn the sensor. We're going to just save this thing with this gas. So we're going to press in here and see if it works. Alright, it's detecting. Oh, sorry. So as you can see, we have detected our smoke, our buzzer, it's ringing, alarming us, and also we have our motor pump working. So pretty much that's all. Everything works. The buzzer makes sound, the water pump throws water, and it's not going to stop until the fire is not there. Alright, so rest assured, you're pretty safe. And yes, this little board might save your life one day. Who knows? So that will be our episode 3 of IoT Hacks, and we have done some firefighting and fire detection system. Tomorrow we might do something even better, even more complex, even make something fancier. So until then, see you next time, and This is it, Ali Hacks, and this is me, your host Sal Mahmood, and signing off.